themarshallman.com.
Hi everyone. So for the last week or so, I've been spending time with Master Yap Boh Heong, and we've been discussing a lot about the Yan Shou Gong sets and of course the Yan Shou Gong course, which is being taught internationally online. And one of the common questions that comes up from the students is, what is the purpose of training the Yan Shou Gong sets? So the reason that we're filming this video today is to address that question, and I'm hoping that Master Yap will be able to explain, at least for the first 6 sets of Yan Shou Gong, the actual purpose and what you gain from training these sets. So Master Yap, if it's okay with you, maybe we can start with the first set of Yan Shou Gong, step 1.
Yeah, I think as I've explained in my 5 stages of learning internals, right, the purpose of the forms is to fit into the metaphor of using the outside to move the inside. And what that actually means is that by doing the correct movements, you actually are generating the correct alignment and connection in your fascia, your ligaments, and your muscles, you see. So it forces, in a way, your body to maintain that alignment, and in turn, through more consistent practice, you develop those mechanisms within your body that will allow you to generate and transmit energy. And in this case, those mechanisms, as I said, are the strings, and they're made out of the fascia, the ligaments, and the muscles. And I can show a few simple examples of how, when you're in the correct alignment and the postures, how everything lines up, and you can do certain things effortlessly. Whereas if you're out by a little bit, you're already broken the connections. Now, this is a very common move, which is also in Tai Chi, is this opening move, right? You sort of bend a bit. Now, first, we do the bend down, and then raising the arm, and then in Tai Chi, you drop the arms. But in Yan Shou Gong, we do the bending, the raising, the drawing back, which is the same, but we do this extra scoop. So I'll describe a bit of the details and what it means. Now, the first part, when we do the bending, we want to align the fingers and the elbow with our strings here. And in doing so, when you align and you bend with your top of the spine, you generate a very heavy sinking force. You feel the heaviness of the fingers, you see. And I can demonstrate it, with Kieran's help. Now, let's say I'm doing it here instead of doing it here, right? What I want is my fingers to be aligned on my strings, and ideally with my toes. That's why I stand this way and not too wide and not too narrow. And I want to do this in this alignment, okay? And if I'm wrong, let's say I'm doing it here, then it will not work. Now, maybe you can do it at a 3/4 angle. I can see it more clearly. Yeah, like this. So if Kieran was to grab me from the bottom up, let's say I want to sink, and he doesn't want me to sink, okay? Now I do it with just physical force. You go on your stance and prevent me from sinking. Okay, I'm just going to do this. I push my arms down. I try and bend my, push down on my shoulders, you see. It won't work. Even if I'm in some sort of a stance, I cannot get the connection, right? So this is just physical force, right? If I put my weight on it. Now, let's say I'm in the correct posture, but the alignment of my elbow and my fingers, is just a bit too far out. I should be in here, but let's say I'm in here. It's just, maybe 20 cm out. Now, in this condition, you see, if I try to generate power, it does not happen. There are no connections, right? And I end up using muscles and physical force. Now, if I bring my elbows in, I bring my fingers in, I align, and I go. It can be that much of a difference. You felt it, right?
Yes, huge difference.
Yeah. The first one is physical, doesn't work. The second one, you can still feel there's a lot of, you can still give me a lot of resistance. But once I do it right, again, let me explain. So when I bring it right, see, my shoulders, first my strings are connected. then it has connects through the shoulders. When I bring it in, see, now my arms get connected, you see. So if I'm out here, this connection is broken. Although I may generate the power on my trunk here, I cannot get it to my hands. So here I'm just using muscle power. But if I bring it in, and there, see? Yeah, there's a lot of the Qing goes right down, you see. So having the correct alignment really helps you a lot. And that's why the form teaches you to do this. And by doing so, it aligns your strings, your fascia and tendons. And then you can start to generate Qing, okay? Now, another one I really like is this one. So when you bring it here, we do a scoop and we stretch. So here, what we do is we have to, first of all, keep this vertical, right? And again, it's this alignment. And I just need to stretch my fingers and stretch the strings. Basically, it's like I make myself tall, you know? I don't lock out my knees, but I just stretch it out, right? My knees are not locked, but they are straight. And in doing so, what I'm doing is I'm stretching the fascia from my toes all the way up, and similarly with the back. So if Kieran was to grab me and we're in this position, right? Now, if I were to, I'm going to go up, you pull me down. Now, if I just use my shoulders and my biceps, you know, I can't do much. Even if I bend my knees and try and use my legs, and if you sink me, right?
Yes.
It's not going to happen. You know, I end up struggling. Although I try to lift, it doesn't work. But if I keep everything aligned and I bring my, okay, if I'm out here, also it doesn't work. You can, yeah. So I end up doing this, right? It's like I'm trying to lift a barbell. But here, if I keep everything aligned and I just stretch,
Oh, it's floating me already.
right? Yeah. Right? So just through the alignment of the strings, you see? Right? Okay. And this is another one where we do the scoop. So what I'm doing here, again, if he's grabbing my shoulder or my collar, there's no way I can move him. But if I align my position, I bring my elbows in, I put this flat, I point this at the shoulder line, which is more or less in line with my strings. And I just slightly dip my knee and I do the scoop. And once as my fingers come up, I stretch. Okay, he floats, right? So having all that little minor adjustments helps you to align your strings, and that kickstart your, what we call the engines. These are the mechanisms that help you to then generate and direct the energy. So this comes on the first form, you know, just from the first move, this and this, okay? And we can illustrate the same thing with the second move. Now,
Just before we go into the second form or the second move, what is the reason why the force or the power changes? It decreases and increases when you go outside of these lines? Because you're talking about these two lines that come down the inside of the body.
Yeah. Okay. In our philosophy of how the body works, especially in the perspective of using the fascia to generate energy, we see the body as divided into three parts: the legs, the torso, which could be up to the head, and the arms, right? And if you see this as three separate components, you'll notice that the hips, or what we call the kwa, right, both front and back, is the part that joins the legs to the torso. And the shoulders, at this point here, the top of the strings here, right, and at the back, at where the scapula is, these are the 2 points that join the torso to the arms. Now, if you want to generate and utilize energy, all the three parts of your body, your legs, your torso, and your arms, has to be connected, right? Now, okay, let's say, for example, I try to bring the thing up from the ground. I stretch my fascia, my tendons, and my muscles on the legs. But if that energy cannot pass through this point, then it won't be much good to me in my body. And if I can't get it from my torso to my arms, then I can do whatever I want here. This part is empty, you see. So in order, if we are to do things whether it's for martial purposes or for healing, we need to bring the energy to the hands. And hence, you need to connect all 3 points of the body. And this is where the correct movement comes in, you see. Now, we being a Southern Shaolin style, we emphasize a lot on keeping the elbows in, because this is one way to create the connection here from the torso to the arms. Of course, you can also open. But with this, you're using another alignment. But still, you have to connect so that the energy can rise from the feet to the torso to the arms. Subsequently, the same thing is reversed. If somebody is pushing me on the arms, I want to direct the energy down. I need to have the connection within here and here so that the ligaments and the fascia act as one unit. If not, if it's broken here, then the force cannot sink. And as we know in a lot of internal arts, one of the skills we need to try to strive for is learn how to sink the energy to the ground. Now, maybe, I can just demonstrate it with this move itself. Yeah, this is in Yan Shou Gong number 1. With this move, right? We end up here, and then we do this. Now, if I am connected in this move, an opponent or somebody like Kieran will find it very hard to push me because I can sink the energy to the ground. But once my connection is broken, I'll just fly off, you see. And in this case, the rule for, I would say the guideline for connecting is your forearm here has to be more or less in line with your strings, number 1. And number 2, this has to be vertical. That means it's not like that, not like that. And from this orientation also, it's not like that and not like that, right? So again, we can test this out if you push on this here. Now, let's say I have nothing, right? I just stiffen up. Yeah, you feel no effort. You can even use one finger, right? Yeah, see? I just go, there's no way, right? Now, once I song, I connect here. Now, see, my arm is still a bit disconnected. My elbow's out there, right? And let's say I'm angled out like this. See, I will still go. But once I bring it in, I align and I stretch the fascia. Now it's different. Now you can put the whole palm on it and try and push. See, in fact, you find your energy being reflected.
Yes, it's repelling me away.
Yeah,
That's correct.
because his energy is now going to the ground. As the energy fills up, it sort of bounces him back. Yeah, I don't have to do anything. This is a static property of being able to connect my fascia, right? So you can try again. See, I just have to hold it this there, right? You go back. And if I change my elbow, then I go, right? Yeah. All right. So that's how critical alignment is. Of course, I can do it in this position. Then I'm using another angle. Is it? You push. So I have to have, again, it's not like that, not like that. It's this. And then I connect, right? So that my elbow sunk there. See? Yeah. So there can be more than one position, but the precision of the angles and all that is important. Yeah, as you can feel, once I go out, right, it's like it's empty. Once I engage, it's like you put your car into gear, then the power comes on. So just to emphasize, so far we've been working with the first form, and the purpose of the first form is to help you develop the feel and also learn how to use the strings. That is the purpose of the first form.